Hello everyone. Welcome to Nita Crochets. My name is Anita. It's really been long, but I'm glad I'm back with a good one. And this is an inspiration by They Call Me Tracy Cotois. I'm going to make sure that I tag her Instagram handle in the description box. Now, first of all, this is a beautiful creation, and it's very saddening to see that this artist is actually so underrated. She's so underrated. Honestly, she deserves much more following than she has right now. I'm sorry to be ranting over this once again, but it really hurts for artists like these not to be recognized for their work. Imagine she dressed Mary J. Blige. I would be screaming almost every day to remind you all that I did that. But yes, she needs that following. Kindly follow her because she actually gave me permission to recreate this. So she needs all the hugs and kisses and everything. So before you get into watching this tutorial, I request that you watch my previous video for the slitted bell bottoms, okay? Then you can now get to watch this because this is more like the upper tutorial for the upper bit of the jumpsuit, okay? So just in case you're looking for the lower bit, it's already there. And also the written pattern for the lower bit, which is the slitted mesh bell bottoms, is on my Etsy, Coffee Shop, and Ravelry, okay? Now, for the materials that we are going to need for this tutorial, we are going to be working with this acrylic yarn. I'm going to be doubling my strands because it is so thin, okay? So for the mesh bell bottoms, I worked with a 4.5 millimeter if I remember. But now for the upper bit of my jumpsuit, I'm going to be working with a 3.5 millimeter hook. Then you're going to need stitch markers, okay? And then rings. I am working with key rings. It is so embarrassing, but I didn't have any rings on me to finish this project. And I felt like I had delayed it so much that most of you had even lost the love for seeing it done, okay? So I just improvised with these rings and they worked perfect. They don't even show. Lastly, you will need a pair of scissors. So I'm going to get all my items away, my material away, and just have my hook and yarn, okay? Now let's get started. First of all, I'm going to make a slip knot. I usually work with 17 foundation chains when working my breast cups, okay? I don't care the size or whatever. Those are the number of foundation chains I usually work with for my breast cups. So you will make a slip knot and chain 17, okay? Once you have 17 chains, that's where I'm going to meet you, then show you what to do next, all right? Once you have your 17 chains complete, you are now going to yarn over and insert your hook into the third chain stitch from the hook, and there you will work a double crochet, and then you're going to work one double crochet into every stitch, okay, until you have one stitch left to end the row. So basically we are going to work 14 double crochets into the next 14 stitches, okay? Because my intention for having 17 chains is because I wanted to have 15 chains left, because the two first chains are going to more like be my turning chains to start this row. So once you have one stitch left, that's where I'm going to meet you, okay? Now here it is. I have one stitch left, and into that one stitch I'm going to work 2 double crochets, okay, just like that, and then chain 1. Once again, I'll work 2 double crochets into that very same stitch. So into that very last stitch, I'm having 4 double crochets in there, okay, just like that. So basically this is the peak of my breast cup, and this helps me turn so that I start working onto the opposite side of my foundation chains. Now, as you can see, the next stitch is that stitch that is on the opposite side of my foundation chains, and in there I'm going to work 1 double crochet, and I'm going to continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch, okay, all the way down. So even on this side, I'm going to make sure that I have 14 double crochets into the next 14 stitches that are on the opposite side of my foundation chains. So I'm going to meet you at the end of the row, then show you how to work the next row. And now here we are. Okay, now that I'm here, I have all stitches worked. I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work, and into the very first stitch I'm going to work 1 double crochet, and I'll do the very same thing for the next stitch. So basically I'm going to keep working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until I get to the chain 1 at the peak of my breast cup. Like I said, if you remember the 4 double crochets that we worked into the very same stitch, yes, we had a chain 1 in between those 4 double crochets. So when you get to that chain 1 space, that's where I'm going to meet you, then show you what to do. So just keep working your 1 double crochet into every stitch until the chain 1 space. So now if you can see very clearly, you can see that I am at the point where I need to now start working on my peak. So in there, into that chain 1 space, I'm going to work 2 double crochets, as you can see right there. Okay, so I'm working 2 double crochets, and then I will chain 1 like that, and once again I'll work 2 double crochets into that very same stitch, or point, just like that. Now once again I'm going to go over onto the opposite stitches, and into every stitch I'm going to be working 1 double crochet until I get to the end of the row, and that's where I'm going to meet you guys, then tell you what to do next. And now here it is. I have come to the end of my row. This is how my work looks like so far. So to work the next row is not going to be any different from what we have done, and I'm just going to take you through what you need to do. So basically from here you will chain 2, turn your work, and literally we are just going to work the very same things and go over and over again. When you get to the chain 1 space, please make sure that you work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all into that very same spot. Okay, so you'll do this until your breast cup widens to your fitting. Like you can see, I have like for me I was working a size small, and I have like 7 rows. I hope I have between 7 to 8 rows for my breast cup, and it is just that very fine coverage that I needed for a size small, which I was working this for. Okay, so if you're larger than this or bigger than this, or like a size medium, I would advise like maybe, to be sure, 10 rows or 9 to 10 rows, and a size large can go up to like 12 rows. You just keep trying onto your breast and see which one fits you. I can't be particular because some of you will get wrong results and blame me for it. So just keep trying your breast cup on and see that it fits. Now once we are done, we are going to be working along the edge of our breast cup, which would be the bottom of our breast cup. Okay, now for the edge, you're just going to turn to the side of the edge and then work 2 single crochets into every double crochet post. I usually work 1 single crochet at the top of the post, then the next single crochet is worked at the center of that double crochet post. If that gets really confusing for you, you can just work 2 single crochets into every double crochet post, like into the very same spot. You will still get the very same result. Okay, but just make sure you have 2 single crochets into every double crochet post all the way down until the end of your edge. Now this is how it looks like. Okay, As you can see, I've put a stitch marker on this stitch that I feel, because I'm working an extension on the side of my edge so that I have good coverage for the side of my breasts. So I am looking out for the center where my foundation chains were, and then making sure that I put my stitch marker like 2 rows above, 2 rows above the center, which is the foundation chains line. So I'm going to make sure that my stitch marker is placed into that single crochet stitch that is in line with the second row from the foundation chains. I hope I am clear. Yeah, you see that? We have 2 rows from the center, which was where our foundation chains are. I'm just going to make sure that it is placed in that very right single crochet stitch that is in line with the second row from our foundation chains. Now this is the center, as you can see, so just count 2 rows above and then put your stitch marker into that single crochet that is in line with it. And once you are done with that, what I am going to do is more like an extension just on the side of my boob to give me very great coverage. And this will be super great for people who are working sizes large, because the boob can be popping on the side and we don't want that. We need something like super clean and great coverage. So that's why I'm making this extension on this piece. Now from here you're going to chain 1 and just work 1 single crochet into every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to get to the marked stitch. Okay, so just work 1 single crochet into every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to get to the marked stitch, and that's why I'm going to meet you guys and show you how to end your row. So as you can see, I have like 2 stitches left to get to the marked stitch. So what I will do is I'm going to work 3 single crochets together, just like that. So that means I have worked the 3 single crochets into the 2 stitches and also into the marked stitch to get 3 single crochets together. Now once you have that, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and here you are going to skip the first stitch, okay, and then you'll get into the second stitch. All right, what I'm trying to do is making a decrease so that we have just a good length for this extension so that it can tie to the back without being too long. That's why I'm making this kind of decreases. Okay, so skip the very first stitch and then get into the second stitch and work a single crochet. Now from here you just keep working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way down until the end of the row. Remember, we are only working a decrease on one side. I want to keep the other side still flat and straight. Okay, so work all the way down and I'll meet you there. And then here we are. I am down my row and now I am going to work all the way up. I'll just take out this stitch marker so it stops confusing us. Okay, there you go. Now I'm going to work all the way up again. Now for my next row, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And here I am going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until I have 2 stitches left to end my row. All right, so just work 1 single crochet into every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to end your row. Then that's where I'm going to meet you guys and show you how to end your row. Okay, and now as you can see, I think I am almost at the end of my row. So into those last 2 stitches I'll work 2 single crochets together, just like that. As you can see, you already see that sort of like decrease. Now to work my next row, which is the last row I'm working with you guys, you will just chain 1, turn your work, skip the first stitch and get into the second stitch, work your single crochet. Once done, you will now resume working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way down until you get to the end of your row, and that's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. I keep marking, you know, my last stitch so I don't lose count. Okay, so just work your single crochets all the way down until you get to the end of the row, and just keep repeating exactly what we have been doing for the previous rows until you have one stitch left on your row. And once you do, then you will have to work chains for your string. Okay, then you're going to repeat the very same steps that we have made for our breast cup to make a second breast cup that looks as similar as this one. Okay, similar with this one, sorry. Then I'm going to get back and show you what to do. Here, what we are going to do is we are going to get from here and work along this edge so that we connect this breast cup to this one and then go all the way to the end of our edge. Okay, so that's exactly what we are going to do right now. I am going to get my yarn, and I'm going to get one of the breast cups. I think I need to work with this one so that I'm working on the right side. I'll just turn it like that and get into the very last stitch that I had before I worked the chains for my string. And in there, I'm just going to get my yarn onto the hook, pull through and work a chain. Into that very same stitch, I'm going to work a single crochet. Now here I am going to be working one single crochet into every single crochet post all the way until I get to the double crochet stitches. So just work one single crochet into every single crochet post. Okay, it's that simple. Do not add any extra stitches, because you will have so many stitches for your edge and it won't look straight and neat. Okay, so just work your single crochets all the way until you get to the double crochet stitches. That's where I'm going to meet you, then tell you what to do. All right, as you can see, I am now at the double crochet stitches, and here I am going to work one single crochet into every double crochet stitch all the way until I get to the chain one space at the peak of my breast cup right there. So I'm going to let you guys just work your single crochets all the way, okay, until you get to that chain one space. That's where I'm going to meet you, then show you what to do. Literally, I did not realize that the lighting was really poor. I had to change everything and also get my diffuser on because the lighting was really strong onto my skin. But now it looks much more smooth and softer. So let's just work this tutorial. Now here we are. My next stitch is this chain one space. So in there I'm going to insert my hook and pull through my yarn. Okay, now I'm going to get my other breast cup and make sure I place it, and you know, the sides are placed on the right sides, you know. Now insert your hook into the chain one space of that breast cup, pull through your yarn, and now yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so in that way it is well joined, not well joined really, not like strong enough, but at least we have joined it, and we are going to also join the upper bit of it to make sure, you know, to ensure that it is well joined at the center. So now from here you're just going to keep working one single crochet into every stitch all the way until you get to the single crochet posts, just like we had them previously. And also in there you're going to work one single crochet into every single crochet post until you get to the end of your edge. All right, then cut your yarn and weave in your ends. So let me let you guys continue this, then I'm going to get back and show you what to do next. Woohoo, looks like we made it. So this is how your work should look like. Okay, now what I'm going to do is work on the upper edge. Okay, from here going all the way down my cleavage and all the way up the cleavage, you see, just like that. And also in that way I'm going to be attaching my strings, you know, that have to go right there, that will tie to the back of my neck. So to do that, this is what you will do. You're going to get your yarn and make a slip knot. Okay, this is also another way that you can attach strings or straps onto your project if you already have your breast cups complete. This is another trick on how you can just attach your straps. I keep getting questions of how do I attach my straps when my breast caps are already done. This is one way. So you'll make a slip knot and work as many chains as you possibly want your string or strap to be. Okay. And once you have the length that you desire for your string, I am going to get back and show you how to attach it onto your already finished breast caps. And oh, she's done. This is the length I want for my string. So now I am going to attach it onto my breast cap. Now in there, I'm going to get to the very first stitch at the corner and pull through my yarn, then get into the next stitch after that and also pull through my yarn and make sure I have 3 loops. Now here I am going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. This would be like working 2 single crochets together. You can see my string is fully attached and strong enough. Okay, now from here I'm just going to continue with my project. In the first place, I worked single crochets going down and I felt like I needed some more, sort of like touch up onto this project. So I changed my mind and worked picots. So just to cut everything short and undo all this, then start working picots is where we are headed. So I had to undo all my stitches and got back to the very first single crochet that I worked after attaching my string. So here I chained 3 and then got back into the single crochet and pulled through a loop to work a slip stitch so that my picot is well made. Then into the next stitch I worked a single crochet and then worked the next single crochet with a picot. Okay, now just to go a little slow, this is it. Chain 3, get back into your stitch right there, the single crochet stitch. You will see that I am going all the way up, like having 2 loops onto my hook, then pulling through those 2 loops and then working a slip stitch. So that way I make a picot. Okay, and then I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the next stitch right there, just like that. Now the next stitch is going to have a picot. So I work my single crochet, then chain 3, get back into that single crochet. You see, I take the upper loop and then the loop of the post and pull through a loop, pull through all 2 loops and just work a slip stitch. So in that way you work a picot. If you're not so sure about how to work picots, kindly look up a tutorial on how to work picots so it's easier for you. And in here you're just going to work 1 single crochet with a picot and the other without a picot all the way down until you have gotten to the chain 1 space down your cleavage. Okay, now for me I am right there. I am sorry this was fast, but anyway, it is that simple. So into that chain 1 space, I will insert my hook, pull through my yarn, and then get into also the chain 1 space that is on the opposite breast cap, and now more like work 2 single crochets together. So you pull through your yarn, have 3 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now the next stitch after that, I will work my single crochet, then chain 3, get into that stitch and pull through a loop, then work a slip stitch to work your picot. That means the next stitch is not going to have a picot. So the next stitch is going to be particularly just a single crochet. After that, work a single crochet with a picot. Okay, and once you have your single crochet with a picot, the next single crochet shouldn't have a picot. So in that way you will have this very good edge. Okay, so I'm going to let you go all the way up with your single crochets and then the picots all the way up until you have 2 stitches left to end your row. Okay, that's when we'll meet you. Now here I am, I've worked my picots all the way going up and I have 2 stitches left to end my row, and this is what you do once you are here. And if you remember how I attached my other string onto this project, you will know that when we get here we have to work 2 single crochets together, just like that, into the next 2 stitches or into the last 2 stitches. And after that, you are just going to work chains that are equivalent to the number of chains that you worked for your previous string on the other side of your breast cup. Okay, so just work your strings until it is really long enough, then cut your yarn, and that is it. The next part is getting this to be attached onto the trousers. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, she has literally refused me to work, so I'm just putting her onto my working table so I can get this tutorial done with, because honestly, if I just don't find solution for her, I may not give you any tutorials. Okay, so bear with me. Where you see her hands, she's literally just trying to also be useful. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to make sure that it is muted so that you can only hear me and not her. Okay, her appearing in this video is already enough. Now let me just show you these picots. If you look at them, they're they're a little more prickier on this side than this side. Okay, on this side they look like, I don't know how to say it, but you can see the difference. On the other side they look like flat, and I really love some detail, like good detail. So I always turn my breast cups in out more. So if I have picots, I always turn them in out so that I can have this kind of texture for my picots. Okay, that's why you see that my work looks like it's in out, because honestly I love the texture of the picots being like that rather than having the other flat kind of thing. So if you see, these are my rings. I just attached my stitch markers onto them because she was literally getting my stitch markers and putting them in the mouth, so I just had to do this. Now there is no mathematics on how or where to place your rings. I just found a stitch, not so far to the side of my breast cup, because where the breast cup actually ends before that extension will be the side. So make sure you just a few stitches from the extension and the edge of, the bottom edge of my breast cup. Just make sure you're a few stitches far from that. Okay, just like that, and just mark a stitch right there, and then count 4 stitches in between both points. Okay, that's where I'm going to attach my ring. Also, it's the very same thing to do with your pants. You just need to make sure that you're looking for a point that is not far to the side, because you don't want your ring to the side, but rather you want your ring at the center of your front, on each side of your breast, or on each side of your waist, or I don't know, your underbust, let me say. Yeah, so all the way from the center of your underbust, just count a few stitches and mark where you want your ring to go. I will not tell you a solution. I will not tell you mathematics for that. Just find a point. If by any chance you find that your ring was placed furthermore from where you want it, you can always replace it, because it's easy to put the ring. I worked single crochets to put the ring, but you can also just hand sew them with, a yarn needle. It's that simple. Just hand sew the ring onto both sides, the upper bit and the lower bit. Just simple. But anyway, if you choose to do like I did, you will just place your ring right there and pull through your yarn. Make sure the ring is, at the center. As you can see, for me, I'm just trying to make the ring appear, but honestly, even if you just lay it down like that, you will still get good results. So as you can see, I will get in there, pull through my yarn, and make sure my ring is fully attached. So I will work my single crochet from one marked stitch towards the other marked stitch. Okay, so as you can see, I try to mark and also now remember the ring and get into the ring, yarn over, pull through my yarn and pull through both loops, just like that. So in that way, I have a single crochet that attaches the ring onto the breast cup. Honestly, it's that simple. There is no mathematics. There is no better way I can explain this. the best thing I can do is just make sure this video is as slow as possible so you can see that. But honestly speaking, she has my yarn needle. As you can see, she has my yarn needle. She has it. I thought about using it. I just didn't use it because she was playing around with it. But anyway, if you can still use your yarn needle and just hand sew your ring onto this and the lower bit, the better. It's that simple. You see that? We have that. So here I'm just going to, yarn over, pull through my yarn and cut my yarn, make sure I weave in my ends. And I'm just going to show you how to mark the lower bit of your trousers, where to attach your ring, but then the rest of the work you're going to do on your own, okay? Because this is, the easiest bit that is left, okay? Okay, and now it's fully done. It looks perfect. I'm now taking out my other stitch markers that I'm going to use to mark the points where I'm going to have this attached onto my, pants. Okay, so here they come. If you remember in the tutorial, I had my drawstring tied to the back of my pants. So don't ask me, how are the pants really so fitted without a drawstring? Honey, there is a drawstring, but it ties to the back. Okay, I hope you just steal the trick for your next project. Just take that trick for your next projects. So if you can see, match the center of your cleavage to the center of your pants. In that way, it's very easy for you to see where you have to mark, which stitches to mark for the joint of your ring and the upper bit of your jumpsuit. Okay, so yeah, after you have marked it, just do the very same thing that I did. Attach your ring side by side and also do the same thing for the other side. Okay, and once you have that complete, I'm sorry, I just she was really disturbing me, but I hope you got everything that you needed to get for this one. Peace and love. Thank you so much for watching. She's literally sleeping and crawling onto my table. But yes, that's how you join the ring onto that. If you don't have rings, you can improvise, maybe by working strings and just tie them side by side. It will be a very cool design. It may look different from this one, but anyway, yeah, at least you have the basics on how to achieve this kind of jumpsuit. Much more shout outs to Tracy Couture. You really made a very good design. I am glad that I actually jumped onto this one, and I want to remind you all that a written pattern for these pants is already in my Etsy coffee shop and Ravelry. And also make sure that you go and follow Tracy Couture. Like, she needs the numbers. She really needs the numbers. Like, you can't dress Mary J. Blige and still not have 1K followers. Bye.